stopped streaming for the whole month of April because I was away, my laptop was broken, and then you might have heard that YouTube cracked down on some content. And now I am back. It's a new month, and here we are playing 25NL. I just raised this one over a limper and got called in two places, and unfortunately this flop is not exactly any good for us, so I will have to give up. Checks through again, but still this is just not great. Okay, well, now there is a straight on the board. Let's see what happens. There's this guy who bets one big blind, and I mean, we're never folding here, but we have to call. I could consider raising, but I don't think anyone has a jack the way it's played. And yeah, we were ahead pre-flop, which is nice. Okay, here we can check with pocket sixes in the big blind against a limper. That's not a bad flop. Shall we even donk in this spot? I will just check. Here we can just fold. I will check again. And now we do have a flush. Can we get called by anything? Well, I am gonna go for SID value, but he just snap folded. So he seems quite honest if he ticked the fold button before we even acted. 7-4 off. I am going to raise this one, and I'll explain why. So I recently read that players overfold on the button, which is why it's worth opening a very big range in the small blind. I mean, that is against good players, to be fair. I'm not sure this guy. And now that we c-bet 2/3 pot and got raised, this is an easy fold with 7 high. So yeah, I hope this is even working here, because I haven't done streams in a while. And here we have King 10. There was... What's this? Oh yeah, we have... This is such a weird configuration, but definitely folding now. So we got the small blind, who has... Well, he's not even a small blind, he's a big blind where the small blind should be, and then there's what would normally be the big blind is... He only posted the small blind, and then there was a third blind there. And then on this table, I don't know what's going on here. On this table, the antes are still kind of here in place, so that's all a bit weird. But yeah, maybe it is because I haven't played poker in a while. I haven't streamed much. 9-8 offsuit. Yeah, so what was I up to in the past month? Well, I traveled to the US. I did a really nice road trip from Washington, D.C. to Nashville and back to D.C. And I did squeeze in one session at the new Hard Rock. It's a brand new poker room in an amazing hotel setting in Bristol, Virginia. And I played there, and I actually made a vlog about my session there, which you can check out on my other channel called Live Poker Guide. It came out last night, so make sure to watch that one if you're interested in live poker. But yeah, apart from that, I did not play much poker. I did play a little bit upon my return here in London at the Vic, but in general, I haven't played much poker over the past few weeks. And here 7-4 suited. If it were 7-5 suited, I might overcall, but 7-4 suited is just a bit too bad. Would have been a nice flop for us, but potentially one that would get us into trouble as well. Here we have an ISO, so I will just fold my big blind. Ace Jack off on this table. There is an early position raise. Let's see what the action brings when it gets to us. Okay, so at this point I am going to call in. I know usually you don't want to call in the small blind, but I think early position raisers will just underfold. And now the big blind squeezed, and he only squeezed to 8 big blinds. This is kind of a bit of an annoying spot, but I think I want to call because it is blind versus blind after all. This might get us into trouble now. Okay, let's check the Jack 5 off on this table. But we face a half pot bet, absolutely calling, nothing else to do. Here we can start betting with our Jack high. And he folded, so we took this one down with Jack high. Here, calling again, you might well have ace king, you might have aces, you might have queens, but you might have nothing. So definitely calling another one. And now we have ace jack, so there is not much that we beat. Ace king, we lose against ace queen and the sets, but then again we have two pair. We're not going anywhere, so I'm just gonna donk here and hope that he calls with ace king, which he might otherwise just check behind. And I think he folded, right? Yeah. Sadly, he folded. Here, this is a decent flop for our hand. I'm going to start with a check and then go for a check raise. And he calls. Here we can. So here I am now going to. Am I going to shove? I am going to shove. Well, fortunately he calls and he has ace jack. Look at that. That's an excellent one. Wow, I did not expect to get called by ace jack there. So turns out I was actually betting for value. I really did not expect that. So that is that's a nice one there. So we double up with ace high in a 3-bet pot, but yeah, that's why the guy shouldn't have called ace jack offsuit there. But yeah, can't complain. How we're running now, doing quite okay. So yeah, if anyone wants to jump in, say hi, let me know how your sessions have been going lately, then you're more than welcome to. Streaming is quite lonely actually, but it can be fun depending on how it's going, obviously. So far, as I said, we've done okay. Where are we here? Ace 3 off is a fold. So there's quite a bit of limping I've noticed, which is very nice. Here we have 4-3 off. Not that there are any limps here at the moment, but I'm just saying that I noticed that there were some limps. earlier, so that's always a good sign for a game. Okay, we have ace-2 suited on the button. And we are going to fold this one, and I'll tell you why in a second. So I used to 3-bet ace-2 suited a lot, or ace-3, ace-4 suited, all of those hands. But the issue is now I found out from mass data that players don't fold enough against a 3-bet, especially if it comes from the button. And that means that I don't really want to get to 3-bet that, because if I get called by ace-10 offsuit, ace-jack offsuit, that's not really a result. Then I am putting more money in with a weaker hand. So I prefer to 3-bet a bit more linearly, even on the button. So that's something I have changed, and I've made a few other changes to my game now, to my online game, and let's see what they are. Another one is, for example, that I've learned that I should start with a smaller raise in pretty much any position, so 2x rather than 2.2 or 2.5. That said, this is an ante game, or a game with ante, so this might be a little bit different. However, even more so, we have pocket aces. Now I am going to raise to 2.24. So in a game with antes, it becomes an even bigger mistake. Well, sadly, folds here. Becomes an even bigger mistake to fold the marginal hand to a min raise. So what do we have here? Ace-7 versus ace-queen. And we have ace-queen suited in the small blind again. There is an early position raise once again. And we could go for the 3-bet, but I'm also okay to just call this one in the small blind. And look at this flop, and I think we can donk this one, because this is just so good for our range. And if we get raised, especially with this hand, we are very happy to continue. This guy Paul Punts, I think he's a streamer if he is the real deal. Okay, here now the ace is actually not that amazing for our range. It's okay, it's definitely good for our hand. But I'm starting with a check. And if he bets this one, which doesn't do, well, this is quite a run out here. Okay, so we are going to go for a big bet, because he might have an ace, and I don't think he will fold this, so I'm going to 17. And he calls, and we win, I think. Yes, excellent. So he snap called this more than 2x overbet. So that was a good one. Okay, here king queen offsuit, going to 3-bet it. Okay, this is not the best flop in the world. We're going to start with a check. Okay, now we've got an open ender, so hoping to get him to fold something. Well, don't have the best blockers, but I still think we need to go for a bet, and he does fold in the end, so that is another positive one. Jack 7 suited, we can defend this one. That's a pretty good flop for our hand. He c-bets big, nothing else to do than to call. With this, we can just check once again. He bets half pot again, another one where we'll just call. And on this river, we will probably check fold. Yeah, I mean, he makes it quite big. What do we beat here? We beat a complete bluff. And it's not impossible that he has a complete bluff, but as nice as this started out for us, it unfortunately didn't continue like that. A6 off is a fold. Ace Jack suited, this one we can raise it up. And here we can open 10-8 off on the button. There we have a cold 4-bet. That's not great. Here, let's just c-bet. This is not great. I am going to fold. If we get cold 4-bet by the big blind, that is usually not a great sign. We got this other one through though, so that is good. Yeah, so this guy Paul Punts, if that is Paul Punts, then he is a streamer, I think from Germany. So I might even find his stream somewhere, but I'm not going to look for it now. First I want to do some playing. And see how this all goes. Yes, I'm playing 3 tables today. Don't know if I should add a 4th one. If you think that I should, then let me know. I'm just trying to not overcrowd my screen. That's why I'm not having them next to each other. I realize it's not ideal to have 3 like this, but I still think it's best to go this way. And here we can open ace-9 suited. Jack 4 off and the big blind will be a fold. Come on, banana, play 69. This is taking quite a while on this table, very annoying, but we have pocket aces in the big blind. That is not annoying at all. And there was a raise there, so here we got 3-bet. We are going to 4-bet this one. Against a small blind raise, and here with the aces, come on, oh yeah, we're waiting for banana play again. And now we are going to re-raise this one. Here we're just gonna check because I'm running out of time. And here we're 3-betting aces. Okay, here I am going to check. Here this guy bet, so we are calling. We can just continue. And we are going to call the 2 big blinds. Here we are checking aces, and here we are now going to bet thin for value. And this guy... Okay, sorry, I am just a little bit... he raises it up. I am going to call here. Oh, he did have a king. Okay. Here I am going to check again and maybe go for the double check raise. And here we do have an ace, but I am just gonna call. And now we are going to shove this river. And what happened here? I am losing track a bit because we just had so much. And he had a whoa, he had a boat there. Okay. Yeah, so I kind of I misplayed all of these somehow. Okay, we did win. Excellent. I misplayed them in the sense of like I couldn't really think clearly. I had too much going on 3 tables. And like I had the big hand on all 3 of them. And yeah, there was a bit of a mistake there. Here we are getting 3 bet again. I am just going to 4 bet. So yeah, with the aces, at least we got max value on this table. But then with ace-9 suited, that one was a mistake there. I just called it off at the end because I thought he's saying that he has a really big hand. But yeah, he got there with a set. I had top pair. Still, I think I should have been able to get away from it if I had the time to think about it, but I just didn't because I wanted to get value with my aces there on this other table. Okay, 10, 6, let's just check it. We can just check with middle pair. Got ace queen off. And the low jack down here, table 3. Going to open it. Now I think I can just check behind once again. And now I am going to bet this one. I'm gonna go 2 big blinds into 2.44 and we get called. Don't know by what. Oh, jack 4. Okay. Called with jack high. Interesting. Well, I do not mind that. Here we can go either way. I will start with a check. Ace 3, we will raise it up. Okay, this is quite good for his range, and I think I'm just gonna give up. Right here, going to start with a small bet. Pocket 4 is definitely going to raise. 7 deuce suited, definitely going to fold. Here we are waiting for him to react. I'm showing both tables now. Okay, the ace, going to check now. Here we can go for a small bet. And now on this river, I am just going to bet again, hoping that he did have a king or might call with a 7. Here we get called. I think that's fine to just check now. I don't think this is a hand where we can get a lot of value from, or with rather. He checks again. I think this is fine to just check now, and yeah, we win against king high. Okay, pocket sevens. This is kind of like the bottom of my 3 betting range, small blind versus button, just because the button won't fold enough. So, but sevens I think are still too good to not 3-bet, and in this case he did fold, so happy to see that. Okay, jack 7 off, we'll fold this one. Okay, so I'm trying a new layout here. Still keeping the tables quite big, but then trying to mix them a bit. We open queen 8 off, which is 1 pip below what GTO would say, but there are antes in play, and we don't get 3-bet enough, I was going to say, but we are getting 3-bet here, and so we are going to fold. Although I read that apparently it's best to range 4-bet on the button if you get 3-bet by the blinds. But I was really at the very bottom of my range. It was too far down even. Okay, queen 6 off is not a defend. Okay, what do we have? Pocket threes. I'm going to fold pocket threes, and that's because I've learned that most players actually lose money with a hand like this when they open it from earlier middle position, so there's no need to then get involved because I have to pay rake. And yes, I realize that on stream is not that much fun if I fold too much, but I'm not streaming necessarily for fun, although I do hope that you're having a bit of fun watching me. But the main reason is to teach you how to play profitably, and if you want to do that, then, well, we'll have to fold more than we would ideally like to. So yeah, especially if we have hands like these here where we can't do anything. But yeah, if you're new, if you're just tuning in, welcome. I'm streaming 325 NL tables. And we have ace queen suited. That was a hand that did us very well earlier. When I... Okay, let's see. We are going to raise this one up. Yeah, earlier I 3-bet with ace queen, got called by ace jack, and then bet the flop and jammed the turn, and I got called by ace jack with ace high. Not even a proper draw. Okay, we are getting called here. That is fine. We have a gut shot and couple of... and a backdoor, I mean. And we get it through. Here with ace jack off, I just called in the small blind. And I'm okay to just check this one again. And now we definitely have to go for value after it just checked through twice. But I'm going for some not thin value necessarily, but just for a little bit of value. I can't go too big because I don't think maybe 10s, 9s or so would call, but he doesn't have a lot of great hands, and I don't want to isolate myself against a slow played queen. That said, maybe I should still have gone a little bit bigger, because he could have had king jack as well, or just an ace high. Okay, 9-3 offsuit. That's exactly the hand you want to see in the big blind. And I know against a 2x open, and when there are antes in play, you should defend very wide, but I still don't think that 9-3 offsuit makes that cut. Pocket sixes in the small blind. Don't want to get too excited, because if there is a raise in front of me, I will probably have to fold. Yeah, that's what's happening, unless this guy calls, which it doesn't do. Sixes are not good enough. And especially on a flop like this, with ace, queen, queen, not much you can do with sixes. Okay, but here we have ace jack suited in the big blind. Let's see, banana play is on all three of our tables. Folded now, and we can call. Checking to the aggressor. If you bet small, I think we still have a float, though it's probably quite close already. This is a decent card for us. King 10 will be a fold. Yeah, he is now betting big, but still nothing I can do. This is a great card to barrel. And now we have top set. Sorry, not top set, we have top full house. Is there merit in donking? I think there might not be, but I am going to donk small. Maybe he will call with something weaker. And he does call with something weaker. That's excellent news there. But I wonder what. I mean, was it queen high that he had there? Like, why? What do you overbet the turn? I'm not sure if it was an overbet, but it was a big bet. Why do you bet big on the turn with a king there? You either do it with a really strong hand, like ace queen, at least, or better, or as a bluff. But if you bluff, then why do you call the river? So that's a bit weird, especially when the draw came in and you lose to an ace and to a 5 and obviously to hearts draw. So that wasn't very well played by this guy, I would guess. Seven deuce off on the button. We're not playing the seven deuce game. This would be a nice flop for 7 deuce, 10 7 deuce. Okay, we have ace 9 off, definitely folding. It would be a marginal open in the cutoff, but I think it's just best to ditch it. Even if it folds to us, and definitely once someone opens. Yeah, so tight is right in cash games, and I've always known this, but I've tightened up even more. And as I said earlier, I know it might not be that much fun, but if you want to maximize your winnings, that's the direction you should go in these online games. And if you haven't seen the video on the channel Chasing Poker Greatness, they showed that about half the hands good winning players play still lose the money. So if that is the case, then why bother playing them? And I assume some of them will be better players than me. So there is just no point. So I have tightened up even more. I will be more aggressive with some of the hands that I'm playing. But in general, like for example, you saw me fold King 8 suited on one of these tables just a minute ago. That is a hand that I would have opened in the past, but because I was, I think, in the low jack, it just doesn't make sense because I will not be able to really recoup the money long term because I have to pay rake for it. And yes, if you're up against really weak players, then you can open that. And actually on this side, it's quite good in that respect because this side is definitely weaker. Not the site is not weaker, but the player pool is weaker than on some other platforms. Ace 3 off would definitely be a fold as well, even if no one had opened. Ace 8 off, yeah, another one to fold. Yeah, sorry that I can't show you any more exciting action at the moment, but I do have 3 tables open. If you would like me to add a 4th one, maybe let me know. I might go for it. Poker Deuces, this is another one of those that I would sometimes maybe open. In GTO it is 0 EV open and it's done at a low frequency. I've just decided to get rid of it completely. Okay, we can 3-bet Ace Jack suited. It's a bit light against a 3x open from under the gun. And Paul punts now. Cold 4-bets us, and the pot is so big with this guy calling it as well, so I am going to call. I feel priced in. And here we fold, right, so he c-bets, quarter pot. We have ace high with a couple of backdoors, but nothing else to go for us. And so unfortunately I will have to fold. Ace 10 off, let's try again. Okay, Jack 9 off, I will open this hand if I get a chance. Okay, this guy donks into 2 players. Problem is, he's not necessarily very strong, but then the guy behind me might have something. I am still going to raise this one up. He does fold. Because a donk there, even against 2 players, if it's small on such a board, that's often not really that strong. So I am going to check now, because I do win against all his busted flushes, and I lose Alright, I am going to check this one behind because I win against his busted flushes. But he did have a king. He had a weak king. But I don't think I would have necessarily been able to get him off that one with a missed flush draw. If the flush had come in, I would have bet big there. Okay, we are going to bet this one with our 6 high. Going to check and then bet the river if we get a chance. Yeah, he does check, and we are going to go almost 2x pot, which is not that much, it's only 9 big blinds, but if he has some mediocre hand, like with an 8 there, he might fold. He does min-click us though, and obviously if we get min-clicked after we overbet, we fold with a bluff with 6 high. Going on here, we have a limp on the button. Okay, this is the player who had the king 7 earlier, but with queen 8 off, not much I can do. Six, 4, let's just 3-bet this. I know it's not a great hand, but players tend to overfold in the small blind to a 3-bet from the big blind because they open quite wide. So very happy to take it down with 6 high. Queen 10 off now. This one we can raise. And now we are getting 3-bet ourselves. And against the 3.3x, I am going to fold queen 10 off. Pocket 10s. Let's raise them up. No action. Yeah, so unfortunately I will have to end this stream soon, and the reason is a really silly one, but my laptop is broken. I cannot charge it while using the laptop, and I've ordered a new one, and it's been out for delivery for a month, and they just somehow can't get it to me. I don't know why that is, but for as long as I don't have the new one, I can only do shorter streams because I have to run down my battery and then I have to recharge it. So I might do them more often, but then only stream for like an hour or so and can't do much more. Here we are getting 3-bet by this guy. I'm going to fold here. Gonna 4-bet. King Jack suited in the cutoff. 27 big blinds. Let's see, this is the player that we won a pot against earlier where he called, where we had aces full. And he now 5-bet jams, so obviously we are folding to that. No, sadly, can't do much there. Yes, I'm gonna play another orbit on all 3 tables and then I will have to call it a day. But as I said, we are going to stream a bit more often, I would hope. Okay, 9-8 off is a fold in the multi-way pot. That's another one of those where I think a lot of players would call because they're getting such great pot odds if they're in the big blind with 9-8 offsuit, but that is definitely a punt. And we have Paul punts in the lineup today, but not Andreas punts. I'm sure I punt enough, but not in this exact spot. Ace Jack off will be a nice open. Queen deuce off. Okay, we got called by the button. Okay, this is a decent flop for us. I'm still gonna start with a check. See what he does. He's most likely a recreational player. Oh, look at this. We have a straight flush draw. A royal flush draw even. Still gonna continue with a bet. I mean, there is no bonus for hitting the royal, so doesn't matter. Okay, king queen suited. Let's raise this one up as well. So we're closing this table. Getting 3-bet quite big by the same player. Not a great spot, but I am going to call, so not getting great pot odds and we might be dominated, but because we're on stream I have the excuse I can call this one, and it's not a bad flop for us, although if he has an ace obviously this won't be great. He c-bets, nothing else to do than to call. Would call again if it doesn't make it silly big, which it doesn't. So I'm calling, and if we hit, we'll donk. We do not hit. So now we want to check. Hit pocket tens. Yeah, I was thinking there was actually just the idea came a little too late. I was going to, I should have check raised the turn, check jam the turn, because he made it so small and I just looked at my equity there, but I did have decent equity, so I was okay, but yeah, I should probably have just folded. Just check jam, sorry, not folded. I'm talking nonsense now. Sorry about that. Okay, so we only have one table left. once this one's done, we will have to call it a day. My battery is going down. It is currently 27%, so still okay, but I can't play another orbit because then it would get a bit tight. I don't want to run out of battery when I'm in the middle of a big pot. That would not be advisable. Okay, so one more hand after this one. Let's make it a good one. Let's make it a real good one. Okay, come on. We want to play our last hand of the day. I'm sorry, I'm seeing that a few of you have just joined now and I can't really show you much. So unfortunately, this will be the last hand now. Let's see what we get. This is just so slow now. Come on. Last hand of the day. Not a great one. We fold. Thank you very much for watching. And be sure to come back here. I'm going to stream another one fairly soon. Thank you and bye.